Camera. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, everybody. We're live. There's Brene in the background. This is Kevin in the foreground. This is Innovation Insights, our weekly discussion about specific topics related to innovation and entrepreneurship. I am Kevin Meredith, co founder of Fourth Sector Innovations, joined luckily by Brene, who is our director of community and outreach, and duck behind. We're supposed to have a different setup going on here, but for some reason, our camera is not playing nice. So we are here to talk about Dr. Martin Luther King and explore some of the ways in which the legacy that he left behind um, was rooted in innovation, and to explore, what what aspects potentially inspired entire future generations to be innovative as well. So I don't like to, uh, shove the innovation square peg in a round hole for everything. But when you see somebody like Dr. King and what he was able to do, you don't do that by being just like everybody else. Um, you have to have something or multiple some things in order to translate and transcend to a higher level that most people don't ever reach. And so we'd like to just talk through that a little bit in honor of uh, his birthday, which was celebrated nationally yesterday. And we'll keep talking about it this week and exploring it in different aspects. So, Renee, I was thinking for me personally, the thing that I always really admired, being a white boy from rural upstate New York and empathizing with Dr. King was on the nonviolence. And I'm curious if that aspect of his commitment to nonviolence would be considered maybe part of the innovation legacy. Not that he created nonviolence, not suggesting that. Um, Clear pathways to Gandhi and others using civil disobedience before, but to take it to the levels that he did and to start to amass some change in the way that was able to be done um, is something that sticks out in my mind with respect to his legacy. Would you consider it innovation?
Do you want to give the definition of
Oh,
innovation
I
first?
would love to.
What's your definition of innovation?
Yeah, so good point, Renee. We're not talking about like shiny new object mobile phone innovation. We're talking about like at the very core, what is innovation? And we took a long time trying to figure out this definition, but we think it is pretty solid. And it's really the conversion of creativity into value for stakeholders. And so that's really the basis in which we are having this conversation and just about every other one that we do. So thank you, Brene, for that reminder. Um, and so, yeah, kick it back to you.
I think yes, but I think that's why it was important to define what it means to us as an organization and as individuals. It's innovative because um, it's a creative way to bring um, value to people, to shine a light on um, the issues, and I think to remain nonviolent.
Yeah.
um, because there's a time for everything, and I think when people are um, virtually and physically, literally spitting in your face, you wouldn't think that that was still a time for nonviolence. So I think, in short, yes.
Yeah. I remember a story that, well, I guess first of all, like though it's it's hard when people are elevated up to such a legendary status, to continue to think of them as people, like going through the same exact hardships, because they're able to show a different forward outward look, um, of strength, of whatever it might be, but inside it's still humanity in there. And his whole life, this wasn't like something that he had to learn how to do when he was in the prime of his influence. His whole life, he was like many blacks, at that time, was just completely dominated by racism. Um, just being told to get up out of a seat when he was like 11 years old, I think, and because some white folks wanted to get on the bus from a school trip that they had taken, and the bus driver was white, and he made all the black kids stand up for the rest of the drive back to Atlanta. And it's like, I think he said, and that's the angriest he's ever been in his entire life. And so he also admitted that, like, when he didn't stay committed to nonviolence, he allowed himself to learn from those things. So it wasn't like he was perfect and he just put it in his head, oh, I'm fully endorsing nonviolence now. There's no way that I'm ever gonna have a violent reaction or overcome this very deep urge to respond in a way that most of us would have responded. Um, so I find that that kind of like journey of one that then translated out to very many more than one, um, an interesting component of his innovation. If he hadn't been able to go through that in an authentic way, would he have been able to as convincingly demonstrate the value of civil disobedience and nonviolence? Don't know. I would argue. What else, Brene?
um, what else? I mean, I think from I don't know. I think about from like an innovation standpoint on the like the how do I say this? The kind of the personality, the charisma that it takes to be someone that can be in the forefront, because I think there are a lot of people who have great ideas or are very creative, and their personality may not be conducive um, to being a leader in that way.
Yeah.
Some people, their innovations are, I don't want to say better left behind closed doors, but maybe not their movements necessarily. Like, um, I mean, you hear stories of um, people who are extremely smart, brilliant minds that don't know how to talk to people, that don't know how to, navigate social circles to where people will not only get behind their ideas, but also them as a person. And I feel like Dr. King he had that to where it wasn't just, okay, obviously I'm going to get behind this movement because, right is right, wrong is wrong, but also he had the type of personality and charisma that made people believe in him and support him in a way that maybe some eye for an eye.
Yeah.
Um, it gives you kind of the division of personalities and, where does your um, thought process kind of line up and where you most alike. So, yeah, I mean, I think that especially to be just nationally recognized in the way that he is. I mean, there are a lot of civil rights leaders,
Right.
and that made sacrifices, and um, even within his own circle of friends and influence. But yeah, I think there's something to be said about having the ability to speak to people and be relatable to people and not um, take kind of the popularity and pursue the popularity over purpose.
For a little bit, at the beginning when you kick that in, I was thinking, there are some people, like you were saying, there's some people that are good talkers and there's some people that are good doers, and then it's more rare that there are people that can do both with great effect. And it's kind of like in our startup world, we're trying to help founders or co-founders or startup teams get their venture to the next level, but the types of skills and like intrinsic abilities that people have to get something going is often quite different than what it takes to grow it or sustain it. And so I, I mean, let's play a little crystal ball. Like, what do you think it would have looked like had Dr. King continued to lead the movement and grow influence? You know, not not that we ever can change anything, but you know, it seems like he had the ability to continue that leadership indefinitely. It wasn't the same scenario as Malcolm X and what was going on with the Nation of Islam, where there was a lot of infighting, a lot of significant discord between the organization. You know, could that have been able to transcend, or was there just too much headwind? You know, even if he had not been assassinated.
It is unfortunate, but I don't think that I like to be very intentional with my words. I don't um, not for the sake of trying to be politically correct, but uh, yeah, anyway. I think that it's unfortunate that in a society that racism and that racial hierarchy, is kind of woven into the fabric. I don't think that it could have continued or would have continued the way that it did, only because I think that, and it's really sad to say this, but the martyrdom I think was the catalyst, was the pushing factor um, into action. And yes, there was a lot of momentum up until that point, um, but I think that even in today's society, it's unfortunate that um, death would be the thing that wakes people up and gets people more active and moving. But I mean, we saw that 2 years ago, where it really these are not new things.
Right.
This is not it's not just an epiphany. Oh my goodness! All of a sudden we're awakened to this fact. So to answer the question, I think that he could have done continue to do amazing work, but I do think that he would have never been allowed to, and it wouldn't have probably It's unfortunate that sometimes, you have more impact in death than
Yeah.
you even have in life because it's the legacy that you leave
I I wonder also with respect to, like, could it have gone somewhere where it even transcended race? So I remember reading that one of the things that he wanted to fight for was eliminating poverty, and that doesn't matter. Every color is represented in poverty. Could that have been maybe a pathway for a broader coexistence to overcome the racism barrier? Not in totality, but could that have potentially been a bridge? I don't know. We'll never know. But
time. Yeah, I think almost anything could have potentially been a bridge had, the overarching powers that be um, allowed a person of color to have that much
voice,
leadership and
yeah,
that much say.
yeah. Well, any other? I mean, I guess part of the legacy is the people that continued to do the work after he was gone. Um, People that most of us don't know the names of. Uh, not saying us, you. Most of us, the broad American population. Um, Almost none of which have a national holiday after them, and so we just like to honor kind of his legacy and acknowledge all the other people that have fought tirelessly, have given their lives, and in the vein of trying to make this place a little bit better for everybody, especially those that care the most about it. So I hope everybody can go out today and show that honor of Dr. King's legacy in any small way, holding a door open for somebody, not reacting if somebody cuts you off in the car. Brene, I'm talking to you. Oh, right.
I was nice this morning.
There you go. Awesome.
I was.
Good start. Yeah. No, everybody, that's an inside joke. I'm not suggesting Brene has road rage on a regular basis. I don't want it to come across that way. Uh, no, but just try and honor uh, that amazing legacy by living the values that he did, and we'll all have a little bit better of a day, I would imagine. So, with that, thanks, y'all. We'll see you next week. Have a good one. Yeah, have a good one.